When the Galactic Academy's new xenobiology students first studied humanity, they didn't expect this. The humans, small, soft-skinned, and apparently fragile, were on a planet overflowing with things that should have killed them instantly. Caffeine, capsaicin, ethanol, nicotine. The alien students had just learned these were classified as Category 3 lethal substances. Then they watched a video of a human calmly sipping coffee, biting a chili, and laughing. One alien whispered, trembling, "They're eating poison." And someone else replied, "No, they're enjoying it." If that first scene blew your mind, you're going to love what's coming next. Because the deeper we go, the stranger and more terrifying humans become. Hit that like button if you enjoy stories where humanity bends the rules of biology itself. Subscribe and share this with your friends, especially the ones who can't function without coffee, because trust me, this one's going to get wild. The first day at the Galactic Academy was supposed to be simple: orientation, safety briefings, a tour of the simulation halls. But when Professor Vura floated into the room, a six-eyed scholar from the Matharian clade, and dropped a holographic chart on the table, the room fell silent. "These," she said, her tendrils curling, "are substances that cause instant death in 99% of known life." Rows of alien students leaned closer. The list was long: ethanol, caffeine, capsaicin, theobromine, sodium chloride, the very essence of toxicity. Then the human exchange student raised a hand, grinning. Professor? Those are breakfast." Confusion rippled through the class. Someone chirped nervously. Another clicked their mandibles in disbelief. The hologram replayed the human's nutrient data: heart rate steady, body unharmed. Vura's eyes widened. "You mean you ingest these voluntarily?" "Every day," the human said, taking a sip from a travel mug. Steam rose. The smell hit the alien sensors: bitter, acidic, alive. A few fainted on the spot. In that moment, the class realized something profoundly unsettling. The universe's so-called fragile species didn't avoid poison. They built their culture around it. The next lecture turned into a live demonstration. The human, Cadet Riley, volunteered, smiling as if this were all a friendly cooking show. The alien sat behind a transparent bioshield, recording every motion. Riley placed a red fruit on the table. "This," he said cheerfully, "is a chili." To the alien students, it pulsed with thermal radiation visible in infrared. It wasn't a fruit. It was chemical warfare wrapped in skin. He bit into it. The sensors screamed, heart rate spike, blood temperature rise. Pain receptors lit up like a supernova. But Riley didn't collapse. He laughed. Tears rolled down his face, and he reached for water that wasn't even helping. Professor Vura was speechless. "You're enjoying it?" Riley gasped. "Yeah, it's the best part." Then came the next horror: chocolate, coffee, even alcohol. Each one triggered alarm tones in the aliens' monitors. One student whispered, horrified, "They have turned suffering into entertainment." Another murmured, trembling, "or adaptation into power." Because with every burn, every bitter sip, humanity seemed to grow stronger, not weaker. The class didn't know it yet, but what they were witnessing wasn't madness. It was evolution laughing in the face of fear. By the end of the week, fear had turned into obsession. The alien students stayed after class, rewinding footage of humans eating, drinking, laughing, thriving on things that should have ended them. Their research notes filled with contradictions. Capsaicin activates pain receptors, yet they call it flavor. Ethanol disrupts neural stability, yet they consume it socially. Caffeine induces cardiac stress, yet they drink it to focus. One student, a crystalline being from Zephyrian, muttered, "Pain gives them pleasure? How can that be biologically efficient?" Professor Vura sighed. It isn't. It's something else entirely. Humans have made discomfort desirable. The realization struck them like gravity. Humans didn't just endure danger. They embraced it, learned from it, even found joy in it. Their minds had rewired fear into curiosity, transforming every threat into a test. Riley had said it best during lunch one day. You know, it is not about surviving the burn. It is about earning the right to say you did. That line would later appear in the Academy archives as the human resilience paradox. Because for the first time, the galaxy began to understand. Humanity's greatest weapon wasn't strength or speed. It was their insane, beautiful addiction to challenge. Curiosity finally overcame caution. One bold alien, Lyra of the Threxian cluster, raised a tentacle and asked, "May I try one?" The human grinned. "Sure, but start small. Baby steps." A small cube of chocolate hovered before Lyra. Sensors went haywire: sugar, theobromine, trace caffeine. In any alien, it would have triggered neural shutdown. But Lyra's mandibles closed and nothing happened. Just a warmth spreading through her crystalline veins. Then came coffee. A single sip, bitter and acidic, yet her heart rate stabilized, her neurons firing in a way she hadn't expected. She blinked. It wasn't painful. It was intriguing. Why isn't it killing me?" she whispered, astonished. Riley shrugged, eyes twinkling. "Because your species evolved to fear it, but mine, we evolved to adapt. Sometimes chaos is a ladder, you know." By the end of the day, Lyra and the other students had tasted a dozen substances, each one a potential death sentence, and each one revealing a new layer of human resilience. Professor Vera floated near the observation deck pensively. "Perhaps," she murmured, "the danger isn't in the substance itself, but in underestimating the being who consumes it." And in that moment, the Academy learned the most important lesson of all. Humans don't just survive poison, they turn it into power. The final lecture didn't feel like a lesson. It felt like a revelation. The alien students gathered, their tentacles and mandibles still trembling from the week's discoveries. Professor Vora addressed them, voice heavy with awe. "You've seen it yourselves. Every deadly substance humans consume. They endure, they learn, they even find joy. And in doing so, they bend the rules of biology itself." Lyra, still tasting the warmth of chocolate on her tongue, nodded slowly. "It's not just resilience, it's audacity. They gamble with death and win." Riley chuckled softly. "We just call it living." The aliens recorded every word, every gesture, every bite. For centuries to come, these logs would circulate throughout the Academy. They would be studied by every species curious enough to understand humans. And one thing became clear: humanity wasn't fragile, reckless, or foolish. They were a force of nature disguised in fragile skin. They turned danger into delight, fear into fascination, and poison into a peculiar kind of power. As the students left the hall, Professor Vera whispered to herself, almost smiling, "The universe underestimated them. And now, so do we." If this story made your jaw drop and your mind spin, imagine what other human miracles are out there in the cosmos. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss a tale of humanity bending reality itself. Share this with friends, especially the ones who think humans are fragile. It is time they learned just how unstoppable we really are.